I've tested nearly every productivity and note-taking system on the market. Obsidian, Notion, Roam, Asana, Trello, Building a Second Brain, and they all fail for the same exact reason, which I'll dive into. And so I built an AI life operating system that solves that problem and that actually works. It runs on commands. It has multiple agents. It's not too difficult to set up and understands the entire context of my life, so I never need to explain myself to it, right? And so it all started with Evernote back in 2018. I was following Tiago Forte's Building a Second Brain course to the T. I built the PARA system, P-A-R-A system. If you don't know what it means, it's alright. And I captured everything. 3 months later, I couldn't find any of the notes that I took. So I was like, okay, maybe Obsidian is better, or Roam Research. These might help me because they're more of like this network thinking tool. That didn't work. Then I tried Notion. Then I was putting all my tasks into Todoist and then Asana. And the same pattern happened every single time. In the first week, I felt like this is it. This is going to be the thing. About 3 months in, I was realizing there was a lot of friction, and then I would abandon it, right? And here's what broke me. I was using Claude 10 times a day, every single conversation recently. But I had to rebuild the context. Every single conversation. Here's my content framework. Here's my process. Here's my goals. Here's my tasks. Every single time. And then I had the realization. I asked myself, what if Claude just knew all of this? What if instead of me managing the system, the AI drove this process and built the context in automatically? And this question drove me to build this life operating system. And so I built it from the ground up. This isn't like another Building a Second Brain like note-taking app. It's not another task manager. This is an AI system that manages everything in my life through natural human conversation. And it's built on commands. Each command triggers a different process, connects to agents, and pulls from all my databases to find the relevant context. All I need to do is remember a couple commands and let the AI do the rest. And so let me show you what this thing can actually do. So let's start with content. And I built out this content process so that it doesn't just write the context for me. It pulls the information out of me. It reviews my journaling, my journals, my voice notes. It reviews things that actually happen in my life to make the content authentic. And I guide the process, which I think is where AI is going. So let me show you. So this is the system. I built it out in Claude Desktop. And then for various different reasons, I was hitting limits. It wasn't up to the job. So I did inside of Claude Code. I have a couple videos on Claude Code and why you can use it even if you're not technical. So you can go watch those, but I'm not going to dive into that for this video. So let's say I want to build out content, right? So I can type in /create. And then what it's going to do is I trained it on the different types of content that I create, right? I typically create philosophical content or tutorial content, right? And then I basically, once we create it, I let it batch it out into multiple scripts, turn it into a newsletter, repurpose it. But let's just let it auto detect, right? So I'm gonna do /create. Then I have a voice to text here that can help us out. So /create. So I've been thinking about how AI is related to the meaning crisis, how a lot of us are feeling isolated, the world's becoming more polarized, it feels like everything is heating up and getting less stable, and how AI might actually just accelerate that faster, but how the individual can actually do something about that we're not actually powerless, and that to assume that we're powerless is the worst way to respond to and participate in this. So let's create a piece of content around that. And so you can see that it's transcribing it. This is all local. That tool is called Monologue if you're interested. So create is running, and because I ran the create, it's going to read all of the processes. The router, it says it detected this, and it says cool, the content type is philosophical, so it's going to go down that angle. It says it needs a high amount of research, which is true. And then it's going to launch these various different agents to go and pull information from Notion. And so I still am using Notion, but I'm not ever every once in a while I'll open it up, but I'm never really opening up it in the ways that I used to. I'm not like going in here and you like opening up a doc and like, let's create a piece of content. I'm just letting Claude, I'm letting this Life OS system update this. So I have tasks in here. I'm letting the system go and like manage my tasks. I'm letting it help me create content, which is what we're doing right now. You can see like some of the pieces of content that I'm working on, all the notes in my system, Readwise. I have a content intelligence vault, which is like a bunch of the content formats. I have strategy, which is like all the different techniques, traps, frameworks, principles, values. And so all of this is being stored. And so these agents inside of Claude Code are able to access and update this information. And this basically becomes the second brain. But the problem with all these tools, the problem with the building a second brain framework is that you save stuff in here and then you forget about it, and it's really difficult to retrieve that information. And so what's fascinating to me is that AI can retrieve information insanely well, right? It can go in here. It's using this tool, this MCP tool called sequential thinking, to like deepen its ability to think. You can see here it's going and it's searching my Notion database. It's querying it for different quotes. It's getting results back. And so I said, like, let's do this, right? Let's search the content database for this thing, right? And then it will go into my Readwise database. Readwise is a tool that like kind of auto syncs all of my quotes from Kindle. And it's going to search this database and it's going to find quotes. So like maybe there's this like AI safety one. Maybe there's like, I don't know, the warrior ethos. Like, I don't know what it's going to find. I mean, we'll see in a second what it finds, but it's going to go and it's going to search all of those. And so it's starting and it's building the content from the ground up, right? And I built it into all these processes. I created markdown files in here so that it knows what the process is. I basically told it, don't generate the script until we go through this entire process of extracting information from me, researching and pulling quotes, synthesizing them, building the outline, right? So the copywriting strategist has completed phase 1, quick capture, and phase 2, research and gather. And now in phase 3, planning questions. The agent found Vervaeke's frameworks, the 4 types of knowing, my piece of content, you were still living in the dark ages, your personal transformation, learned helplessness patterns in organizations, and given the research in the course thesis, powerlessness itself is the problem, not AI. What is the most important thing you want your viewers to believe, right? And I can say, oh yeah, let's like research a little bit more and maybe I can go back, right? But I can say something like, I want the viewer to leave the video feeling like they have a sense of agency, like they are able to take action and like what they do matters, that the world is not meaningless, that the way that they participate and engage with the world is actually meaningful. And so it's like asking me these questions, I'm giving it the answers, and I'm going through this process to create all of this content. And sometimes like this video that you're watching right now, I went through this process to build the outline for this video, right? But it's gonna go in and then it's gonna go and it's gonna view this you know, my Notion database. I could ask it, can you pull book highlights from this? It will search them, you know, and I'll show you a couple different use cases. This is the content one. We also have like planning out my day and my tasks. And we also have like analyze my journal entries. That one's a little too intimate. I probably won't run that on this one, but it's possible you can do it. So let me go here. You can see in the cool thing about Claude Code is you can have as many tabs running as you want. Claude Desktop only lets you have one at a time. And so let's do the plan my day one. So this is the plan my day one. How's your energy today? Is it high, medium, you know, or variable? I would say it's this current moment, it's probably medium energy. So before it plans out my day, it asks me what my energy level is. Then it goes and searches Notion and it finds the tasks that fit that energy level that are due in the next week or that are due today. It's fetching all of those and it's creating a plan, right? And it's going to output a plan to us. Now going back to the content system, I'm going to jump back and forth between these because sometimes it takes a while. Second planning question, what specific story, example, or metaphor will bridge the gap between their current state and this transformation? This could be your life experience, a thought experiment, an analogy. Yeah, so I don't know, there's just like my personal experience has been the more that I just get these small wins of agency, the more meaningful my life becomes, and the more I feel like I don't have, you know, when I'm in this like materialist paradigm. It feels like everything is meaningless. That's when I was like in that kind of atheism world. But when I see that, when I relate to the world as if everything that I'm doing matters, that changes everything, right? So I have some personal experiences. Maybe you can ask me some more questions to extract this out of me. But the idea is really that if everyone assumed that the world is meaningless, then it becomes self-reinforcing. But if everyone lives from the framework that life is meaningful, then it becomes meaningful, because the perspective that we hold on things becomes like the world that we live in fundamentally. And so I guess the perspective that I want to get across is that perspective itself is fundamental. That the way that we view things, the lens through which we view the world, creates the world that we live in. And that's why everything that we do is meaningful, because everything that we do is meaningful, and we can shape the world that we live in and that others live in as a result, through the frames that we put on things, and through our ability to connect with other people. And therefore the life is not meaningless. Maybe that's, the story wasn't fully a story, but you can see it just pasted all that in. And it's going to keep doing this until I've built out an outline with the AI, right? And now this one, let's see. So today, high energy. First, investor update documents. Second, pull Dan code writing frameworks from notes. Follow up on unpaid invoices. And it's just like pulling all these tasks for me, and then it's planning out my day. I just said plan /plan, have medium energy, and then it goes and it pulls all those tasks from my database, right? That's the power of the system. And then I do the task, and then if I do the task, I say, okay, now mark the task is done. And all of my work happens inside of Claude now, right? Writing my content, updating my content database, planning out my days, sending emails. So if I create a new chat here, I'll show you. So I have all these agents, right? All these like different processes that I built out. But here's all the commands, like create, journal, meeting actions, etc. Let's say I go to the MCP, right? Here's all the different tools that I have, right? I have internet search, I have Gmail. I haven't actually logged into that one. I don't use it. I use Slack more than Gmail. I use Gmail, multi-agent debate. Notion is the most important one because it's able to write and read to Notion. Sequential thinking allows it to think more deeply. I have Slack, so I can answer Slack messages and like figure out, like work through things with people on my team inside of Slack, but I use Claude Code. And then I can pull YouTube transcripts. A lot of the stuff I built out is like content processes, because a lot of my work is this. It's like, how do I create extremely high quality content? How do I create videos that describe Claude Code? How do I create philosophical content that talks about the future of AI? Whatever it is, right? And so let's say we go here, follow up and extract the story. Can you give me a specific moment? I just want to show you how it works, so I'm not going to actually give it the story, but you can see that it's not actually writing the content yet, it's extracting this. And I think this is the ideal way to use AI, where I just give it a /create, and then it just runs me through this process. So now I don't have to think about, how do I create high quality content again? What's the process? I just log on. All I have to remember how to do is I log on to Claude Code /create, and then it's in this instant process that's unfolding until I arrive at a piece of content. So if you watch the video, We're Still Living in the Dark Ages, it should be live by the time you're watching this. That one was built using this exact process. Those ideas were built using this exact process. So what journey, like what structure feels right? Where does your personal materialist meaning framework land? What transformation stage should the viewer be in? Do we demonstrate agency through one example deeply or show multiple domains? Should we lead with the problem or the insight? Let's lead with the insight, and let's demonstrate agency through multiple domains that an individual can act. And let's start with like the hook. And let's build out the outline with a framework that people can use to understand this idea, and then one of my personal anecdotes. Okay, so there we go. And you can see it's just helping me build this out. And there's the copywriting strategy agent. Now let's say I use the, like, let's see what agents I have. So I guess I'll just do this in a new tab. So if I go /agents, I have the YouTube title researcher, hooks, and these are like going out and they're fetching stuff from the internet. They're updating my databases. So let's say I have like the Notion research synthesizer agent, or the voice notes pattern analyzer, voice memo pattern analyzer, Notion research. Let me show you the Notion research one. Use the Notion research agent to find information in my Notion database about my thoughts on philosophy. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example here. All right, so the copywriting strategist is doing sequential thinking. It's thinking through this, now building the full script. You can see here's the tone that it got scripted in. We're already outsourced agency framework, and it's like it's helping me build it out without doing it for me, right? And so you can see here now, if I say use this agent, it's going to go to Notion. It's going to keep querying my Notion database. So the cool thing is I have the tasks one, it knows to query the task database. The content one, it knows to query the content database. And then in building out the content, it'll be like, cool, now let me go and pull information from your quotes database, from this database, right? And so, and this is only beginning. I built this in the last couple weeks, but it's only going to get better. I'm going to keep building this out because ideally, like 90% of the work that I do on a day-to-day basis is inside of Claude Code, right? I probably have spent 30 hours this week just working with Claude Code, like from the moment I wake up to like all of the work, because Claude has access to all these tools. Now I can work inside of Claude and it can go and take actions for me. And this is what I talk about in a lot of my videos. The way that knowledge work is heading is you become more of a coordinator and an orchestrator as opposed to someone that does the thing. And so the idea here is I want it to help me to orchestrate and coordinate. Like, oh, like there's some interesting quotes from this book. There's some interesting quotes from this book. Oh, go find me some information on the internet about other people that are talking about this. Is there any interesting angles? And it's like going and doing all these things, but I'm just kind of like coordinating it, right? And then this is the cool thing. You can see error, API response error. If it hits an error, it just solves it itself. That's the cool thing. It just like solves the errors, right? So if I go here and I say like, I want to show you an example of the like YouTube research hooks YouTube. This is one that actually goes out onto the internet. So if you connect the right tools to it, it can go out on the internet. So I said like, I'm launching a YouTube hook researcher to find high quality hooks on this topic. It's probably going to say like, what topic do you want? Or maybe it's using the dark age of technology. It must have like somehow known that I just wrote a piece on that. You can say, okay, rate limit exceeded, then it like slows down, sleep 60 seconds, like whatever, like it just solves these errors itself. But I built this hook researcher that basically goes and I'll literally, there's a Notion researcher, it's still going. And a lot of times I'll have multiple tabs open at the same time. That's the cool thing about Claude Code. So I'm gonna terminate this one. All right, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show you the agents and what they do. So if I go to the agents, like let's say I want to show you like what's inside of one of these agents. So research, YouTube hook researcher, view agent, right? So here's the agent, and this is a system prompt that Claude generated. But use this agent when the user wants to discover high performing YouTube hooks. Here's when you use it. System prompt, you're an elite YouTube hook researcher. You have access to the video search tool. You have access to the transcript extraction tool. You can filter content in these ways. Ethan only writes content about that's educational or tutorial, so don't search content outside of that. The target outcome is 10 to 15 validated talking head educational video hooks. For each filtered video, use these tools. And it gives it a bunch of information on how to do this. Here's the patterns, and then it says you should output it in this way. And again, like Claude wrote this. I did not write this. I just told Claude, hey, let's have an agent that does this. And you can click create agent, you can click project, generate with Claude, and then you just describe it in here. and it goes and it writes the prompt for itself. You just describe what you want it to do. And a lot of times I'll have a chat with Claude. I'll be like, take all the things that we've done in this chat, turn it into a process, and turn it into a comprehensive agent prompt that I can have Claude go out and build the agent in, right? So here you can see Notion research. It went and it, researched all these databases for me, right? Consciousness as fundamental, higher dimensional thinking. These are notes that I took like years ago, right? September 20, that's more recent, but like these ones, higher dimensional thinking and paradox resolution. This is actually an article that I took from a long time ago, right? So if I do higher dimensional thinking and what was it? And paradox something. And paradox resolution. This is an article from Daniel Schmachtenberger from a long time ago, right? So if I go here, you'll see the original article, but I just like let it research, and then it's like, oh yeah, you took notes on this one article from October 2017, and here's the core ideas from it. Do you want to use them, right? Or here's books you deeply engaged with. Here's what's missing. Would you like me to do this, or this, right? And you're coordinating. You become the coordinator, right? So if I go into YouTube Book Researcher, transcript is disabled. Again, it's just gonna like, that's the thing, is like I'm not scared of errors anymore because it hits all these errors, and it's like, cool, let me go find another video where the transcript is enabled, and it like just keeps trying until it figures it out. And because of the auto compact, if you watch any of my other videos on Claude Code, you never run out of context in Claude Code. It just solves it for you, right? And so you can see, and so the cool thing about this is I will have all these processes going, and I will have like, I'll do this, and I'll like put this in a separate window. I'll turn this on the left here. I'll put this on the right here, and I'll have another screen, and I'll have like probably 4 or 5 of these different windows running, because inside of Claude Code you can run as many as you want. I basically I have like 5 different tabs running at any given point in time, and then this one, sometimes it takes like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to get a response, especially if you're calling a bunch of tools. But that's why I have like multiple running at the same time, right? So here we go. Philosophical script complete. Now I don't really want it to just write it, so I might need to change this, but you can see here, it's like, here's the Notion link for you, and it just like updated Notion, right? So now if I go here and just paste this Notion link in, the real threat isn't AI, it's how powerless we've already become. And it uses like certain structures now. I actually wanted it to like output an outline and like work with it a little bit more, and to understand my voice. So I need to work on this a little bit. I could even just say output it here instead of Notion, right? But the core idea is that I am just orchestrating, I'm just coordinating, and it becomes my life operating system. So it can send emails, Slack messages, understand my to-dos, understand my projects, understand all the notes that I've taken. I now take voice memos on my phone, or voice notes, and then I upload them to Google Drive, and I have like a very simple automation that just inside of make.com that transcribes it and adds it into Notion. Let's see if I can show you an example. Finding focus through failure, right? And so like this is a voice note. I'm not gonna show you the voice note due to privacy reasons, but it's like voice memo, and it just gets transcribed and summarized. And so now inside of Claude can access all the things I'm thinking about. So I record a couple voice notes a day, and then I'm like, oh yeah, what was I thinking about this last week, and how could we frame that into a piece of content? Or like it understands context on me because I'm giving it context on me. And so boom, it just output the script here. This one is, it's using 40 tools, and it's, again, like I said, it takes a while sometimes. Like this is still running, but that's why you can have multiple different screens set up. And while it goes out and fetches on the internet and tries to research hooks and find hooks from videos, let's say I do I think this one might work a little bit better because it uses a different tool, the IG hooks, research hooks IG. So it's researching hooks from Instagram. research hooks IG Reels. This is an agent that runs whenever I trigger this command. And I'm going to be recording videos teaching you how to set all this up, right? This is more of just a teaser, a demo. I'm going to show you how to set this all up. So it's like, oh, rate limit exceeded. All right, let me sleep. Let me not call it so many times. This uses the Appify MCP server to go and get information. But it will literally go in here and it will pull, here's a bunch of Instagram Reels related to this topic and how they structure it. And maybe you could structure it. We could reverse engineer it and structure, reformat this script of a video into short form scripts for you where we get the same idea, but we make it compatible in a short form, right? And it will go and it will do this. And so I'm absolutely stoked about this AI life operating system, and I hope that you are excited just watching this and seeing the different things that you can do. Probably won't wait for this to complete and show you, but it's not the fastest in the world, but the fact that you can do most of your work inside of one interface instead of connecting to all these different tools and Notion and Asana and Todoist and ClickUp, and I can just have one interface and I'm just interacting with it all day, every day. You see it's like going, and it found this Johnny Lawrence, the self-development coach. Like, I've never heard of Johnny Lawrence before, but it's like doing content research for me. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be publishing more in the community, in the newsletter down below, in terms of these processes, in terms of things I'm thinking about when it comes to AI on a practical level, like life operating system level, on a philosophical level, tutorials. So drop your email in the newsletter, join the community if you wish. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching this far.